Hey everybody, welcome to today's weekly success builder. Thanks for joining us. Um, Today I thought we would start a conversation about what can we focus on currently to prepare us for working with our borrowers. And so I have put a presentation together that I am now going to share my screen. And I also have a handout that I'm going to share as well. I will post it in the weekly success builder section of NAMB Hive. And it's called the affordability comeback. So basically what we're going to do is look at different ways that we can look at numbers and how to make them work for more borrowers. So I know that a lot of times we focus a lot on interest rates because, of course, that drives affordability. Um, Interest rates sometimes make borrowers not able to qualify for transactions because the costs are too high as far as the principal and interest payments. But I did want to point out a number that we are plus 11% in the affordability improvement scale year over year from 2025 to 2026. That is the best since August of 22. So let's look at some numbers. As I mentioned, affordability improvement. So meaning that more of our affordable housing borrowers, first-time home buyers, should be able to afford a home in 2026. So we have an affordability improvement of 11%. Year over year from this time last year to April 2026, rates have actually decreased by almost a full percentage point year over year. And then another number, but we are still 60% though below pre-pandemic affordability. What happened in 2020 and all the way into a portion of 2021, as far as rates go, those are an anomaly. They were driven by something that, knock on wood, hopefully will not happen again in at least our lifetimes. But what this affordability issue does is it still does price out quite a few folks for now as far as home ownership. But the biggest takeaway based off of this information is affordability is improving, but unevenly. So borrowers really need a guide to find their window, and that guide is you as the loan originator. So what drove improvement? And let's look at why it matters. So number one, rates fell. Mortgage rates fell roughly 0.9 percentage points year over year, which is definitely a meaningful shift in monthly payment affordability, especially for those FHA and conforming loan buyers. So what does this mean? A $350,000 loan at today's rate is going to save that borrower about $185 a month more versus a year ago. Number two is home prices have slowed. So there has been nominal home price growth. It's decelerated to just 0.6% nationally. So what this means is that in some markets, prices have softened more meaningfully, which really creates targeted local opportunity. So our local markets really matter more than our national headlines. So stay attention to what's happening in your own backyard instead of sometimes looking at the big picture. And then number three, incomes have grown. Household income rose 3.1%, which expands a borrower's purchasing power and helps more applicants qualify at our current price points. So maybe it's time to rerun those qualifying scenarios from the leads and the pre-qualifications that you did even just 12 to 18 months ago and see if those borrowers are now able to qualify to purchase a home. The other thing to keep in mind is there really is no perfect market. There are just loan originators who are prepared. So the gap between where affordability is and where it needs to be is really not a wall. It's just a consulting opportunity. So maybe look at reaching out to those borrowers who said not yet 18 months ago because they may qualify today, or first-time buyers who may especially benefit from income growth and that rate decrease. And then, of course, adjustable rate and FHA loans are gaining traction. And you can really lead the conversation with those two topics. So let's talk about re-engaging your not yet list. So who should be on your list? So number one, pre-approvals that expired in 2023 and 2024. Those leads who said the rates were too high. Applicants who couldn't hit that qualifying threshold. Buyers who may have lost out in bidding wars and then paused. And then, of course, refinance inquiries that just didn't pencil out. This here is just a proposed outreach script that you can use, or maybe you can hire a virtual assistant or somebody else in your office that can make these lead calls for you. The script kind of reads like this. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Doe, I want to reach out because something meaningful has changed in the market since we last connected. Affordability has improved significantly this year, and I ran your numbers based off of today's rates and income data, and I think that there is a path forward for you. Do you have 15 minutes this week to take a look? Don't reference rates, just lead with numbers, monthly payment, their qualifying income, and what they can afford today versus 18 months ago. Also, national numbers are a starting point, but they're not a selling point because our borrowers don't live in a national average. They live in your market. So what to know about your market? Look at what the current median list price is now versus 6 or even 12 months ago. Look at the number of days that properties are sitting on the market and trends. And are buyers gaining leverage? Are we going more into a buyer's market? Look at new construction activity and maybe any incentives that are being offered nearby. You can also look at zip codes or submarkets within specific zip codes to see if there's any price softening. And then also look at local employer activity, job growth, and any migration trends. So how do I use that in conversations? Well, you can open every phone call or consultation with just a 60-second market snapshot based off of the data that you're going to gather on these 5 bullet points of information. You can also pull a 1-page local market report before every call. You can also show month-over-month payment changes, not focusing on just rates. Also, you can identify opportunity zones, areas that may have more favorable conditions in your marketplace over another. And then all of this is really going to position yourself as the local expert and not just a rate shop. So maybe stop saying rates are X percentage and maybe start saying, here's what your payment looks like today. So this is called lead with scenarios, not rates. So 18 months ago, a property that had a $380,000 purchase price, interest rate was 7.5%, 5% down payment was $19,000. You're looking at a $2,510 per month principal and interest payment and a estimated PITI payment of $3,050 per month. Maybe for a borrower that you are dealing with, the debt to income ratio on that scenario was too high to qualify. But let's look at today. Maybe the purchase price is now $375,000. The average interest rate is 6.6%. The down payment's going down a little bit. Now they're at $18,750. Principal and interest payment based off of that scenario, $2,280 a month. Estimated PITI payment, $28.20 per month. That's a $230 a month savings. Now, maybe that borrower qualifies with income growth. Also, we talked about using FHA and ARMs as affordability tools. So a lot of borrowers are already shifting to FHA products and ARM products. It's always better to be proactive rather than reactive. So FHA loans, 3.5% down, of course, critical for first-time buyers. They have more flexible debt-to-income ratios and credit standards. Seller concessions can be up to 6%. This is a strong fit for borrowers with solid income, but maybe thinner savings. Just watch the MIP cost over the life of the loan. Have a conversation with your borrower about this for a future refi strategy. If it's an ARM product, initial rate can sometimes be 0.5 to a percentage point below the fixed rate offering. It's ideal for buyers planning to sell or maybe refinancing in 5 to 7 years. It increases a borrower's purchase power on higher priced properties. You can do a variety of ARM products, a 5/1 ARM, a 7/1 ARM. Look at the different fit that is for move up buyers. Just watch the rate adjustment risk. Make sure the borrower fully understands the caps and any worst case scenarios. And then buy downs. A 2/1 or a 1/0 buy down is still gaining popularity. Builders, of course, often fund these. They just let them know what's available. Bridge that psychological gap for any rate-sensitive buyers. And these buy downs can be paired with either FHA or conventional loans. Just be clear that this buy down is temporary. And on year 3, we don't want them to have a shock that the payment is now going to the standard rate. These are some, I'm sorry. Let me go back. I apologize. There we go. These are some borrower conversations to kind of handle some different objections. So maybe the borrower says, I'm waiting for rates to come down more. Ask them what rate would make you most comfortable, and then show them the data. Every 3 months of waiting a current appreciation rate could cost more than 0.25% rate drop save. Show the break-even math. If the borrower says, I don't have enough for a down payment, show them different down payment assistance programs, FHA at 3.5 or seller concessions. Many buyers just don't know what's available. This is where a broker's access to multiple products really wins. Home prices are still too high. Well, show them the local data. National headlines don't necessarily match every market. Some submarkets have meaningfully softened. So if prices are still high in their area, reframe the conversation to cost of waiting versus future appreciation. And then if a borrower says my credit isn't ready yet, well, this is a future pipeline opportunity. Offer them a credit improvement plan with a 90-day follow-up call. If the borrower feels supported before they're ready, then they're going to become loyal referral sources. So this is your weekly action plan. So here's 5 things to do this week. So number 1, pull that dormant lead list. Filter through your contacts from the last 18 to 24 months with no recent activity, because this is going to be your warmest cold list. Run those updated scenarios. Recalculate qualifying numbers for your top 20 dormant leads using today's rates and income data. Build your local market snapshot. Create a one-pager. It can have current median prices, days on market trends, and then 1 to 2 opportunity submarkets in your area. Prep that product comparison sheet. FHA versus conventional versus ARM. You can do that comparison side by side. That way it can be tailored to your most common borrower profile. And then make 5 outreach calls, not emails. Do actual calls or text messages. Use that script from today, and then expect 1 to 2 re-engage conversations from 5 attempts. So this market is really giving you an opening, and the LO that acts on it now is going to own it when volume returns. I'm going to put a one-page document in the weekly Success Builder section of NAMB Hive that's going to have a link to this presentation as well as that one-page document. And I also want to make you aware of some resources for NAMB members. Maybe it's time to get a certification, set yourself apart in the marketplace. We have a variety of certifications that are available. We do have our FHA focus certification coming up May 5th in Ohio. Also, we have our Advocacy in Action event next week. April 21 is our legislative day. April 22 is our Lobby on the Hill day. If you are in the Washington, D.C. area or considering in joining us, please go to our website at namb.org, highlight events, and click directly on Advocacy in Action for more details. I hope that you all found this information valuable, and I look forward to seeing you on another weekly Success Builder call. I do want to let you know that our next call will not be until May 11th. I do have some travel coming up. So the week of April 20th is our Advocacy in Action event. I will then be in Las Vegas on April 27th, attending the Angel AI Mindset Summit. And then on the following week, May 4th, I'll be in Vancouver, Washington at the National Association of Professional Mortgage Women annual conference. So if you're going to be at any of these events, I hope to see you all there. As I said, I will post this in the weekly Success Builder section on NAMB Hive, and I hope everybody has a great, successful week. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.